What we're seeing here at the FNB Stadium is really the culmination of what has been a long and arduous and hard-fought campaign between the various political parties that are contesting. And indeed, at some point, we saw elements of, dirty campaigning between the political parties, mudslinging, one party accusing the other of various things. And we also saw some very fascinating debates playing themselves out, essentially on the issue of economic policy and how to make this economy grow and create jobs. One of those debates included the Minister Ebrahim Patel, who was debating with the DA's Shadow Finance Minister Tim Harris at one of the eNCA debates. And there were many claims and counterclaims, and statistics came into battle. In fact, that debate was so rigorous that even yesterday, during the DA's final rally at the Dome in Northgate, they were still responding to some of the things that were said during that debate. And also, it seems now Minister Patel actually also has a comeback of his own. Minister Patel, thank you so much for joining us here at the FNB Stadium. Yesterday, the allegation from the leaders of the DA, basically coming back to the debate which happened in the previous days, was to say that you're simply manufacturing statistics when you talk about the track record of the various governments, national government compared to what's happening in the Western Cape. But you have a response.
Indeed, Tulas, where in a debate, in a democracy, facts count, evidence count. And so during the debate with the DA, I referred to the fact that the information is available, publicly available, on the Stats SA website, on the Nestar website. I'd like to officially hand over to eNCA a copy from the printout of the website that shows that in fact there is a racial breakdown of employment numbers, that the claims that we have made are solidly backed by the research. But I think there's a second part to it. It's a question of trust. The Democratic Alliance in February claimed that the Reserve Bank had modeled their policies and had confirmed its correctness. The Reserve Bank issued a public statement denying that it had modeled that, and since then the DA has had to explain to the South African public why it made an outrageously false claim. On the employment numbers, the Democratic Alliance has told the South African public that their jobs performance in the Western Cape was better than the national average. We in fact provided information to show that Gauteng was the leading creator of jobs in the economy, and in fact the Western Cape performed poorly against Gauteng. But whatever the numbers debate is, ultimately it comes down to trust. Can you trust public representatives to speak the truth? And when they make mistakes, do they have the integrity to say, we're sorry? In fact, the DA has made a terrible blunder, has misled the South African public, has claimed what it had not deserved, and doesn't have the courage to say they are sorry.
Minister Patel, your issue in that debate, when I saw you, you were really taking issue with the fact that the DA was selecting the final year, the outer year of a 5-year term in terms of the jobs numbers, and not showing the full track record of the past 5 years. Does that remain your contention?
Well, that's the first part of it, the selective use of period. And if you take the period of the DA administration, they did not do well on jobs in the Western Cape. But there was a second part to it. Even the jobs growth in the Western Cape was racially skewed. White South Africans deserve to be part of our economy. They bring skills, they bring know-how, they bring insights. But what the Western Cape figures showed, that based on the very same database that the DA had used to make its claims, once you slice those figures by racial categories, that the vast majority of those jobs, in fact, went to white South Africans. And that was the issue in the debate, that the DA policies lack balance, that they lack inclusiveness, that they lack the ability to create a nation in which black and white will feel that there's opportunity.
Minister, why does all of this matter? Why did you feel the need that you need to correct this impression that has been created? It's been a hard-fought campaign. I mean, the DA has made claims that you've simply pushed them back on, and you've made some claims that they've pushed you all the way back on. But why should the South African, voter be concerned with numbers at this very late stage, with statistics and reports such as the one you've handed today?
It comes down ultimately to one question. who is competent to run the 9 provinces, who is competent to run the country. And if, in fact, our record shows that we've created 1.5 million new jobs since the new growth path of government was adopted, that's important to recognize publicly. And as importantly, if, in fact, the DA has not been able to achieve the claims that it has made, then it comes down to the fact that at the level of the economy, they don't have the competence to run the country, they don't have the competence to run the Western Cape.
Right, Minister Ebrahim Patel, thank you so much for joining us. And as you can see, this is the report that Minister Patel, Economic Development Minister Ebrahim Patel has handed over to us, basically stating his case that, you know, the contentions that have been made by the Democratic Alliance on the campaign trail are simply untrue. As you can see, it's a hard-fought election with just 3 days to go. It continues to be so. I mean, you know, you can expect that the parties will push all the way until IEC regulations say that, you know, no more campaigning. And even at that stage, you might see that there might be attempts to continue to push their message all the way until Wednesday.
Know more about your world.
eNCA.com